Hi, we just finished meeting for pronunciation practice on Tuesday, April 4th, and we started with brutality. Brutality. The first T stays a T, even though it's between two vowels, the U and the A, because it's in the stressed syllable. So a lot of times you hear the rule that the T will change to a D when it's between two vowels or between two voiced sounds. But that other part of the rule is if it's in the unstressed syllable. So, excuse me, this is why tal stays a T and the T in a D, itty, changes to a D. Brutality. So anytime you see the suffix ity, it looks like itty, but it will sound like a D. Brutality. And drastically. I put that little mark there by the K to say you don't release the K, but you are kind of releasing the K with the L. Clee. Drastically. So maybe I should take it out. Drastically. Ambiguity. Ambiguity. Wi or wa. But make sure I put a W there to remind you to round your lips. So ambiguity. Ambiguity. Um, that's the noun. I totally lost my parts of speech. That's a noun. Ambiguous is the adjective. Ambiguous. Captors. Looks like OR, sounds like ER. Captors. Really. So I first put really, but nobody really says E like he. Your tongue is never that high. Re, it's usually li, real, really. And the difference between the noun breath, take a deep breath. The th at the end is voiceless, so there's no vibration, like think. And then the verb form is breathe. Anything that ends with the the is almost always a verb. There's not too many of them. Breathe, teethe, bathe, clothe. But then the noun forms of those words, cloth, bath, teeth, breath, is voiceless. So make sure I put this bold so you could see that it's breathe, breathe deeply. And the vowel is E, breathe, breath, breathe. And curious, curious, curious. I'm really curious. Chlorine, the stress is on the second syllable and the CH sounds like a K. Chlorine. The pool has too much chlorine. Carbohydrates, carbohydrates, which is why we shorten it to carbs, because it's a lot to say. Legend. And this one, you don't have to say the D if you just say the legend, the man, the myth, the legend. Your tongue's going to the in D position and just staying there. But if there's a vowel after it, like legend of is usually together, then you'll hear the D release for the vowel, the legend of. And we found out a new word, reducitarian. Well, it could be reduce, but it's not stressed, so I put reducitarian. Someone who chooses to reduce the amount of animal products such as meat and dairy they eat. Reducitarian. This was new to me, so new word. Water. This was an example of the T changing to a D. Basically, yes, it's a flap. It goes very fast. Water. Utter, utter, utter. It's very fast, but it doesn't sound like a T. So if you make a D, it sounds the same. Water. And the T can change to D because it's in the unstressed syllable. Satellite. I usually don't spell in column B with real spelling, but in this case, I thought it might help you remember. Satellite. The T changes to a D. Satellite. Natch. This is short for naturally, which kind of means like, of course, or I knew that. Natch. Schedule. The SCH is a SK, almost always ske. Schedule. Round your lips a lot so it makes a wool. If you don't, it'll sound like schedule. So schedule. Bear, the animal, and bare naked sound exactly the same. Bear. And beer. Now your tongue is very high. B has to start high. Beer. And then curl back for the R. So if you want to put them together in a sentence. The bear got bare after drinking beer. And blatantly, this is where the blatant, this T is going to disappear. We're dropping the A completely and we're using a syllabic in. So when your tongue goes up for the T, for the blate, hold it there and just go blatantly, blatantly. And even the, oops, where was I? Blatant, blatant, the adjective. Blatant, blatant. The N becomes its own syllable. And this looks very different than what it sounds like. It looks like this. It sounds like fetus. The T changes to a D, and the OE is really just E. Fetus. Awesome. Why is diarrhea here? Awesome diarrhea. Awesome. Awesome. Really awesome. The vowel is ah. I use awesome as my example for the sound of ah a lot, but you can see all the other words I use for examples are much shorter. So hot had to do. Awesome. Here's genre again. This is good practice for the zh sound. Genre. So remember that if you have trouble finding zh, you can make sh first because sh is exactly the same but without the voicing. So put your tongue and everything in the right position by starting with shh and then turning on your voice, make sound. Genre. You need the turbulence. So if you don't hear it and it sounds more like a Z, like zon, that means your tongue is too tense and you need to relax it. Because it's kind of, it has a wider space for the air to flow through to have that turbulence. Genre. Dairy, like cheese and milk. Dairy. And when the I and the A are in the opposite position, it changes completely. And now it's a book. It's diary with 3 syllables. Diary. Bridget Jones' Diary. And I can totally understand why that would make somebody think of diarrhea because we had diary and 28 is diarrhea. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I will go back and do these because I forgot to do it yesterday without talking in between. Brutality, drastically, ambiguity, ambiguous, captors, really, breath, breathe. Take a deep breath, breathe deeply. Curious, I'm really curious. Chlorine, the pool has too much chlorine. Carbohydrates, carbs. Legend, legend of. Reducitarian, reducitarian. Water, satellite, natch. Schedule, bear, beer. The bear got bare after drinking beer. Blatantly, blatant. Fetus, awesome. Genre, dairy, diary, diarrhea. And on that note, well, we've run out of time. Thanks. It was good to see everybody, and I hope to see you next Tuesday. And if you can't make it, I hope the video is helpful. Thanks. Have a good day.